Overcoming generational trauma, a path to healing and resilience. Generational trauma, often referred to as intergenerational trauma, is a profound and pervasive issue that echoes through families and communities across time. This type of trauma is transmitted from one generation to the next, impacting individuals who may never have experienced the original traumatic events firsthand, but still feel their effects. Overcoming generational trauma is not just about healing past wounds, but also about breaking the cycle for future generations. It requires a multifaceted approach that includes self-awareness, education, and community support. Understanding generational trauma. To overcome generational trauma, it's crucial first to understand what it is and how it manifests. Generational trauma occurs when the effects of trauma experienced by one generation are passed down to subsequent generations, often through maladaptive behaviors, emotional struggles, and unhealthy relational patterns. This can stem from various sources, including but not limited to historical injustices, abuse, neglect, and systemic oppression. For instance, a child growing up in a household where a parent has unresolved PTSD may experience anxiety, distrust, or even adopt unhealthy coping mechanisms, thereby perpetuating the cycle. Self-awareness and acknowledgement. The journey to healing begins with self-awareness and acknowledgement. Individuals affected by generational trauma often first need to recognize and understand the patterns within their own lives and families. This might involve looking at family histories, identifying recurring issues, and understanding how these patterns affect their mental and emotional well-being. It can be challenging to confront these patterns, especially when they are deeply ingrained. But awareness is the first step towards change. Therapy, both individual and family-based, can be invaluable in this process, helping people connect their current struggles with past trauma and learn new ways of coping. Education and understanding play a significant role in addressing generational trauma. By learning about the impacts of trauma on the mind and body, individuals and families can better understand their experiences and the mechanisms through which trauma is transmitted. Understanding the science of trauma, including concepts like the fight or flight response and the effects of stress on brain development, can empower people to adopt healthier strategies for managing stress and emotions. Additionally, educating oneself about the historical and cultural contexts of their family's trauma can foster empathy and provide a broader perspective on their experiences. This knowledge not only helps in breaking the cycle of trauma, but also strengthens one's ability to advocate for systemic changes that address the root causes of their trauma. Overcoming generational trauma also involves building resilience and adopting healthy coping mechanisms. Resilience is not just about bouncing back from adversity, but also about growing stronger in the face of challenges. Developing resilience can be supported through practices such as mindfulness, self-care, and positive self-talk. Therapy and support groups can provide tools and strategies for managing stress, improving emotional regulation, and cultivating a sense of self-worth. Furthermore, fostering healthy relationships and creating supportive environments can mitigate the effects of trauma. Positive social connections can offer emotional support, provide new perspectives, and contribute to a sense of belonging and security. Engaging in community activities and building supportive networks can be instrumental in creating a positive environment conducive to healing. Addressing generational trauma is not solely an individual endeavor, but also requires broader social and systemic change. Advocacy for policies that address social inequalities, mental health support, and community resources can contribute to healing on a larger scale. By working towards creating a more just and equitable society, individuals can help prevent the perpetuation of trauma and foster environments that support resilience and healing. Overcoming generational trauma is a complex and ongoing process that involves recognizing and understanding the trauma, educating oneself and others, building resilience, and advocating for systemic change. It requires courage, commitment, and compassion for oneself and for others. While the journey may be challenging, it is also deeply transformative. By addressing the wounds of the past and actively working to break the cycle, individuals and communities can create pathways to healing, fostering a more resilient and hopeful future for the generations to come.